Welcome to From the Woodshed, where we talk about all things Maine cabins, and all things Maine related. Coming to you from the Kennebec Cabin Company, home of the Maine Cabin Masters in Manchester, Maine. Open year-round, stopping for live music, delicious food, and cold beverages before or after your visit to our retail location. From the Woodshed is brought to you by NELMA, Northeast Lumber Manufacturing Association. See the stamp, trust the quality. And Hammond Lumber, our building materials supplier. We're wicked excited to get started, so let's head on in. From the Woodshed, I'm Chase Morrill. With me, as always, Ryan Eldridge.
Hey, everybody.
And Eva Morrill.
Hello, hello.
We're here to talk about all things Maine, all things cabin, all things Maine cabin related. Our guest today is Kristen Seavy.
And murders today.
And murders. You can find us at KennebecCabinCompany.com, MaineCabinMasters.com, our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Kennebec Cabin Company YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out our online store, shop.KennebecCabinCompany.com. We always want to thank our sponsors, Hammond Lumber Company, the official building materials supplier of Kennebec Cabin Company, NELMA, Northeast Lumber Manufacturing Association.
Nice job. And the fridge is coming after you, too.
Right? The fridge is haunted.
I think that's my job. How's everyone doing?
Good.
We know how Eva's doing. It's school vacation week, and we're making her work for crying out loud. Love.
How's vacation going, Eva?
Boring.
Boring. Well, come to work with us tomorrow.
That's okay.
You're not that bored.
No, yeah, not that bored. I made her help me clean the wood shop yesterday.
Nice. Your dad's table came out beautiful, huh?
Mm-hmm.
She helped move it into place.
Nice. Tell me about the legs. No, Brad was trying to explain them to me. I was just...
The legs?
Yeah. Is it just like
It's just the cutoffs from the end of the beams we used at.
I thought it was to represent us jack and leveling cabins. Because it looks like that.
I mean, it's set up cribbing style.
All right,
just
perfect.
It was just little pieces that I didn't want to waste. So yeah.
I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. What a week. I'll tell you, 2 days ago was the coldest I've been in a long time working. With that wind coming across, it was a long day.
Yeah, but it's above freezing right now.
Today was beautiful.
The lines for the car wash are so long.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I was reading, I heard today on the news that it didn't get above freezing from the longest stretch in 10 years. Like, there's a real winter, a real winter.
Yeah.
Like, there's snow drifts, nothing's melting.
Right. The snow is still soft and powdery.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's fun.
I wish it would all be like this. I mean, heck, I've done more snowmobiling the last week than I have in 10 years. Actually, I snowmobiled today. I still got my ski pants on. Check this out, Eva. And Jen and I snowmobiled at the job site today. It was fun.
And you snowmobiled here to the woodshed?
Yeah, to the woodshed. Yep. So remember, you can always sled to the shed while there's snow.
So you have to... So to get to the woodshed...
To the woodshed.
You have to go out onto Puddle Dock.
Yeah.
Cut across J&S.
Yes.
And go cut over there.
If you're coming from Farmingdale or Hollowell, you cut across behind J&S and then over by Scotch Recreation through there. Or you can come from the other west or east. You can come over from Little Cobbessine around this way. But all trails come in from Puddle Ducks. You work your way around the lake or something, come back down in.
So you must have to cross 17 if you're coming from Little Cobbessine, right?
Yeah.
Where do you cross?
Right by the apple orchard right there.
Oh, gotcha. Of course.
You just have to come snowmobiling me some. Yeah. It all makes sense.
Someday.
Last night, yesterday I filmed with the assistant special projects for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it takes me one a year to be like, why? Why? Those two, Chris and Ash are making a beautiful fold chair that collapses for the tiny home. But I mean, this will be a $2,000 chair when they're done. I'm like, it was just it was pretty very complicated. And I was like, one thing after. I thought you guys figured this out. By the time it was over with, I wanted to kill them both. But after that, Chris and I, we just was over to Doolin's Pub, which was kind of cool in Litchfield.
Yeah.
From my house.
Yeah.
That took 45 minutes. Right now, you can go anywhere on them. It's wicked fun.
I bet.
But it could end tomorrow. That's the problem.
Doesn't seem like it's gonna though.
I don't think it's gonna.
We got a little bit time longer.
And it hasn't really, well, it slowed down our bills, but we built that into our timelines. Right?
Yeah, I mean things are slower in the winter.
But skiing's been good.
Skiing's been great.
Fletcher did really well, huh? Is he the number one skier in Randacook Junior High?
I would say yes. He had a good conference final at Titcomb. His season is done. Maranacook high school team has the States the Monday and Tuesday after vacation, which seems funny, but
Yeah, really. That's
whatever.
weird.
Yeah. No, it's been good. I think they're planning to go again soon, skiing, and
Nice.
yeah.
And how's Maggie doing? She's skiing up over there, huh? She's on the.
Yeah, she's skiing a bunch at Sugarbush, skiing everywhere, all over the place. I think it's funny. There's so much you forget about winter, like ice dams. And
Oh, and you have a good one, right?
yeah, like shoveling roofs and like, oh, you know,
They've been in shovel roofs forever.
right? I mean, that used to be when I was younger in high school. I remember we had one winter where that's all I did all winter after school.
And they used to pay good money, like,
Yeah.
because it would cut to the point, like, we need to shovel this roof now. So,
Yeah, I remember we did one roof. Do you remember the old Littman's factory? It was across from O'Connor's. Used to be a chicken
yeah.
poultry processing place right there, and it was a flat roof. And there had to have been 3 or 4 feet of snow on that roof, flat roof. It was monster. And my father got me and my buddies every day after high school, and we would take our scoops, cut out. It was like cutting a cake.
and just fall off.
We just cut them and then push them to the side, dump them over, and we did that for a week.
And it's because it was just all wind packed in there.
it was
Perfect
just
snow.
so much snow up there. And, otherwise it just collapsed. But
And you forget about then have like plow, then having to have a bobcat or a tractor
Yeah.
come in because you get so much snow.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a couple of years I made good money with my old tractor doing that up at Sugarloaf.
right. Just winging it all back.
Tractor for hire. Oh yeah, couple $100 a driveway, push it back. When there's nowhere for the snow to go if it doesn't melt.
Yep.
It's exciting.
Yeah, and looks like end of the week or starting next week, we're gonna have some above freezing days. So SAP's gonna start running very soon. So I probably should get my taps in sooner rather than later.
Yes, you have to pre-tap, right? So you have to be ready.
Yeah, I mean it'll go on for a while. So if you don't catch the beginning, it's not the end of the world.
Because last year we were over in Italy, so you didn't really do much last year, but you're ready to go.
I'm ready. Ready.
Fun. They put Eva to work then.
Right?
No.
What do you mean? Just sit by a fire and
And that your dad's sap house is pretty awesome. It all runs right down to you, like it's at top of the line.
right? Just sit there, burn stuff, and
You
No,
got-
I just
drink
like,
some beers.
I just like the what's it called?
The sap,
No,
the syrup.
no, yeah, the sap. I just like drinking the sap.
the unfiltered, unboiled down.
Yep,
It's good for you.
Yeah.
it's healthy. It's from the trees.
Well, I'm really excited about today's podcast guest. I know your mom is a big podcast listener to, Eva, and your aunt and I, we listen to a lot of true crime stuff, and we started listening to Kristen's Murder She Told years ago. And one time we, Ash and I don't get a lot of time in the car together, but when we're going on road trips, podcasts make the drive go so quick for some reason. So we listen to a lot of them. So yeah, so she's coming in. So I got a bunch of questions for her. It's all about, she started with unsolved murders in Maine and murders and true crime and stuff like that. And she's gotten more and more popular to the point now she's working with local police departments and stuff. So can't wait to talk to her. So let's watch this quick video here from our friends at Hammond Lumber. And when we get back, our guest, Kristen Seavy, will be here.
Renovating or building new, you'll find a wide selection of high-performing, energy-efficient, and beautiful windows and doors at Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales representative will walk you through the showroom displays and help you choose options to create a personalized custom look. Free in-home measurement is available, and Hammond can deliver your order from any of their locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Bring your vision and enjoy better light and added security and energy savings with quality windows and doors from Hammond Lumber Company.
All right, guys, today's guest segment, we have Kristen Seavy. She's a professional actor, victim advocate, and the creator and host of Murder She Told, a true crime podcast that mostly features the great state of Maine, as well as New England and beyond, and my wife Ashley and I's favorite podcast.
I love to hear that.
Yes, we're so excited. So thank you for joining us today. Would you like coffee, water, or a beer?
I've got some water, and I've got a snazzy cup here. I'm all set.
Well, Chase, I'll have a beer today, huh?
Yes, please.
And today's sponsors are friends from Definitives. And we got a beautiful Belgrade Lake lager, nice light lager with the loon. So, Kristen, how long have you been doing this?
I've been podcasting for about 4 years now. Murder She Told just turned 4 in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And was it due to the pandemic or?
It was. It was December of 2020, and I had nothing else to do during the pandemic. So I started looking into cases in Maine, and Murder She Told was kind of born from that.
Ooh.
How do you look into cases? What does that mean?
Like research. So I use a lot of archival research. So I'll go into old newspapers and dig for articles that are about the cases. We'll do a lot of like genealogy and record searches and stuff like that.
Wow.
And what was your background before you got into this?
I'm an actor.
Actor. Really?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Interesting. And then in that, but you always had a true crime kind of passion, or?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching like unsolved mysteries,
Yeah.
so I guess that's kind of where this love for mysteries comes from. My cousin and I used to like run around outside and just try to find mysteries, and we would beg our older cousins to like give us something to do, and give us a mystery. So that's kind of where I credit this kind of mystery love coming from.
Yeah. Now, did you ever think, in the short 4 years you've been going, you've got all the followers you have from where you started to now?
No, I mean, I had no expectations going into it, and I didn't have a huge following before that. So, it's not like a celebrity starting a podcast who automatically comes with a following. I just kind of started it and, just wanted to see where it would lead.
And so you didn't really even know what you would do. You just, I'm going to start a podcast.
Yeah. So I had been on another podcast that ended, but I hadn't done like the really heavy production side of it. And it also was not nearly as research heavy as Murder She Told is. So I was familiar with podcasting. I fell in love with podcasting as an extension of my storytelling.
Mhm.
But I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to deal with like RSS feeds and all of that stuff, and did the technical aspect myself. And just, I think I've gotten better as an editor. Editing is not my favorite thing to do, but I think I've gotten better as the years have gone on.
So are you doing it all yourself?
We have a small team that helps out. So like behind the scenes, there's people who help to write, help to like process the research. I do like the base research, and then I try to hand off things that I don't need to do. So we have amazing people who help with that, which, I mean, the show wouldn't run without their help. So.
And your primary focus was Maine.
Yeah, I started out in Maine, and started branching out into New England. And I'd like to continue branching out even further than that as well.
So I was telling Chase about, like, he's not as familiar with podcasts as I am. And like Ash and I, his sister, like, we go on road
My
trips.
wife is a huge fan.
Yes, she's a big
Well, I'll give you some
fan.
stickers for
Yes.
In fact, the most recent one she said was in the town she grew up in, Lawrence,
her. Yeah.
Yes.
North Andover area.
Yep.
And it's what's neat about your podcast is I love how you paint the story, and you know a lot of these. I kind of feel like I'm guying out on you go fan guying out on Cabin Masters, because I'm like, you talk about spots that I know, and like you just paint a great picture. And
Yeah.
the detail, and like there was one the Snap-on guy,
Brian Kowalczyk.
right down the road. We were driving up to pick up my niece in Montreal, and Ash and I, that's when we're doing road trips. We are on it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm trying to picture the house and the dome, and like it's just really, really cool because a lot of cases hit home.
Yeah.
And then and it was as you've gotten more popular now, you're actually helping some police departments, correct? And like
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, we are partnered with the Kittery Police Department on a missing persons case in 1983. His name is Reeves Johnson, and I actually was just on the phone with another police department yesterday, which it varies. The relationship isn't all like Kittery Police Department. Like that one's a very transparent, like I feel like we're part of the fold. The rest of them, though, we're here to help. Like I want this platform to be something that will help people.
And are all your cases unsolved, or some?
We have solved cases as well.
You have solved. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Like the reason one Reeves, it's into 2 parts now, and Ash and I going back and forth. Like, well, he worked here. No one remembers him for this long, and like, and some of these are so long ago. that it's all people's recollections and they don't have the data like they do now, you know?
Yeah.
And you're going back in and you're kind of jarring people's memories sometimes and then finding tidbits of information here and information there. One thing I like about your podcast, a lot of times you find out people don't tell you the whole story,
Yeah.
you know, for their podcast, but you lay it all out. You know, you don't hear something down the road like, oh, why didn't we hear that before? But yours like goes truthfully from point A to point B and like keeps you really entertained.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to be as objective as possible because I don't really want it to be about me. And I also don't want to put like a ton of my opinions in there and stuff like that. I'd rather have the story speak for itself. And also like really tell more of the backstory that in a 20-minute episode on TV you might not get.
Mm-hmm. So how many cases or episode? Each episode is one case.
Yeah, sometimes there's 2 parts. I think there's 2 episodes that are 3 parts, but for the majority are about 1 part.
How many cases do you have? Like, are you exploring at a time? Because, you know, your timeline isn't necessarily set in stone to figure things out. So you must have a bunch of different leads or.
Oh, yeah. I think so. This week we've had a lot of interviews. There's been a lot of phone calls, a lot of interviews, and they're all for different cases. So I have this spreadsheet going of everything that's kind of in different stages of the process. Yeah. And then as we move forward, I kind of just pick one. Like, I'll be transparent. I am not a month in advance. I usually am like editing the week before or even sometimes the night before for the next day for the release. Mm-hmm. It just depends on, you know, what happens with the production. And, you know, sometimes we'll get interviews at the last minute and I have to accommodate that. But try to be as ahead as possible. But that means getting interviews and stuff in advance because like the people that I'm working with, I work on their timeline. They don't work on mine. Mm-hmm. So.
Right.
And as you fascinated out because you start a new story and you don't necessarily always, there's not at all ending to some of these stories. And then as you getting your career keeps going, you get more podcasts coming out, then you might get information. So you're going back and forth from old cases that you dealt with to new stuff that you're researching. Does anything take precedence? Like, do you kind of have an idea like how your season's going to go, what new cases you're going to take up? And then
well, it's an episodic, so it's kind of ongoing, rather than like, you know, we have a set number and then we take a break. If a break would be really nice, it would help like catch up on some stuff. But I kind of just like the cases that really call to me or people that reach out that want coverage for their loved one's case. Those kind of speak to me the most. Like this past week, I had someone reach out and then another person reached out about the same case and the name like popped up a couple of times. And that kind of like, you know, pinged in my head, like maybe I should look into this. So stuff like that. And yeah, it's kind of a balance of what's coming up next. Sometimes I might like have a plan in mind for what's next and then something changes and I have to like swap stuff out. So it's kind of juggling a little bit. I wish that I could say like, oh yeah, my calendar is set in stone, but I'm not. It's not.
That must be so challenging just to juggle all of that, knowing like, you know, something might take precedence, like you said, and then, or somebody, you know, you find a piece of information and you zoom ahead on that part and then it might hit a stopping point, or, you know, just the bouncing around must be so
There's
difficult.
lots of spreadsheets.
Yeah. Holy smokes, that's a lot to keep.
Or be like working on this week's episode, then you get some information that you just want to drop everything. Right. But you can't, like, okay, put that away. Like, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, pretty much. And I also get like shiny object syndrome where someone will like send me a case or I'll stumble on something and then I'll be like, what's this? And go look into it. And then I'm like, okay, wait, I need to focus on the thing that I need to do, which is like the current episode or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, as you get more popular, you know, with us, like, you know, when we first started, we had to beg and plead to get people to allow us to work on their cabins. But now we have an application and, you know, we get these stories and they're just some of them are so heartbreaking.
Right.
And you want to help every single one. As you gain popularity, it must be even harder to like
pick and choose.
To pick and choose and to kind of separate yourself from it because.
Yeah. We this past year I had to start telling people like, hey, I can't take you right now, but that doesn't mean that I'm not interested if someone comes to me, because I didn't want to have a plate that was too full, because we're working with a lot of families all at the same time. And I didn't want them to feel like they were left behind. So I had to be like, hey, I can't take you right now, but I'll circle back to it. And I can't give like an estimate. I try to as best as I can, but you know, it's a juggle.
So it started out as a hobby, and now I think it's it's a full-time job with a staff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a full-time job. And we are partnered with a network, but like the network doesn't put any work into the podcast itself.
Mhm.
Like I'm the one that's editing, I'm the one that's, researching the cases, and then the team helps with that. And so, the network isn't like doing all of that production aspect. It's
right.
all done in-house.
Oh, smokes.
Yeah, could imagine. We kind of come in, we talk about our week and talk about answer questions on how to fix your house or your cabin, and
But that's great. Like there's an audience for that, I feel like people like me seek out stuff like that that's a little bit lighter, just to kind of balance out your days.
Yeah. How do you how do you relax and get away from it all? Because it's got to be heavy.
It is, because like I'm holding space for people's trauma, which, most people going through their day-to-day life don't really do.
Yeah.
I watch some bad reality TV, which my younger self would be like ashamed of that. But I have come to an understanding that there's a place for trash TV.
right?
There absolutely is.
It's funny because I have a couple of shows like I just watch it, my mind just goes blank. Like I love Life Below Zero to watch them live in Alaska because I don't have to. There's no drama. I just like, oh, this is cool. They're trying to survive. But like I just get to a place where I don't think about anything. I just drone out.
Yeah.
It's like it's engaging, but it's not so engaging that gives you anxiety or makes you nervous. Or
Right. And the drama is so dumb that it's just like it's fun to talk about with your friends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ashley's gonna God, why didn't you ask what shows? Like,
Love is Blind, anyone?
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts about the current season. I've also gotten into 90 Day Fiance, which is a dumpster fire.
Nothing wrong with that. So as you say you were growing this, I think that's because your passion to help solve cases is bigger than just Maine. But what got you into like starting? I mean, I love the murder she told, the whole play on that, and like, can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so when I knew that I wanted to do a show that started with Maine cases, but I didn't know what I wanted to call it, and so it took me about a month to brainstorm names, and nothing was really feeling like it fit. I knew I wanted to do Maine cases. I knew I wanted it to be kind of like a nostalgic feel. So maybe like 70s, 80s, 90s vibes, like 20th century vibes. And then I remembered that Murder, She Wrote took place in a fictional town in Maine. And I was like, there's something here.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to brainstorm different variations of the name. There was already a Spoke, and then there wasn't a Told. And the second that I realized that there wasn't a Murder, She Told, I bought the domain, and that was it.
It clicked.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, this is it. Like, this is my name.
That's awesome. So for each episode, how much time goes into each one, do you think? And how many man hours?
Probably 80 to 100 plus, depending on the episode and the level of research that goes into it. And, the interviews, like we're working on one in Massachusetts where there's barely any coverage in the newspaper, but we have like 10 family members who want to talk. And this case isn't even Googleable. Like you can't Google this guy's name, but they all want to talk. So like I want to give them space to talk, but that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
how do you... Is it challenging to not run afoul of the law? Like, do you know when you...
Right, like what is...
Tell me more.
Like if you're investigating a case, I don't know. Like, is it a cold cases? They're kind of just out there, and you can do your own research. Have you ever been in a spot where somebody has stepped in and be like, "Hey, back off"?
Nobody's told me to back off, but we're also like really mindful and respectful of the investigators because like I don't want to mess up anyone's case.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. How do you like it? Do you have to worry about messing up a case, I guess, is the
Most,
like too much information. I see.
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, there is stuff that I know about cases that I probably shouldn't, that I know isn't public information, and I will choose to withhold that for specific reasons. Um, but, like when you are talking to families who have some memories about things that isn't public knowledge, you do have to be mindful, like, okay, do I want to put this in here for clicks and likes, or do I want to withhold that because I want this investigation to be able to one day bring justice?
right.
So you do have to be mindful of that. Um, and then also, like, whenever we work with the police department, like, I give them full control over what goes in. So, like, we'll go over the timeline. We'll go over I did this just yesterday. Like, we'll go over the timeline, the information, anything that they want to keep out, like, we can keep out. If I do an interview with them, I give them a transcript of it, just in case they say something where they're like, oh, I don't actually want that in there. Just because, I want this to help. I don't want it to be something that, I don't know, breaks the news and then essentially breaks the case in a bad way.
I think that the Reeves case in York is a good example, like how things have changed, how far people in your industry have come, and how police and people investigated people have, they're opening their eyes up to podcasts, and that you guys are here to help, and that you're knowledgeable, and that you're smart, and that you're passionate, and it's not someone just trying to get clickbait or likes. I think it's get a mutual understanding now of like how some of these things work.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the right podcast partnering with law enforcement could be extremely beneficial, but obviously you have to find the right fit as a department. But I mean, Reeves, like, we've gotten that out there. Every press release that's ever gone out, like, I wrote that and I sent it to the media. So, like, I'm helping to fill in the gaps that the detective who is doing this in his spare time doesn't have. So I think it's extremely beneficial. And not even that, like, that's a totally special situation. Like, even just, we're going to help you get this out here. They tell us the same information that's already public. I have an audience that's listening that might not even know about the case. So you never know who's listening. So.
And there's that phenomenon now too, like so many people are into true crime and trying to help solve things and doing their research online. And you have a voice to get to those right people, and it's amazing, like, who you can touch.
Yeah, I think podcasts, like, are such a great way to reach people because, like, people are listening to them in their car and when they're cooking and when they're getting ready, and I mean, if you're me, it's constant.
I mean, podcasts were a thing, 10 years ago was podcasts? But it started about 10 years.
It was, but not like it is now. Like, I think it really started to take off around like 2018, 2019.
Isn't that crazy to think it hasn't been that long?
Yeah, it really is.
We got on the bandwagon right time.
Besides branching out further into the country, other states, where do you see the podcast heading?
I wouldn't mind doing like something with TV. I mean, I'm an actor. I've worked in TV, so that's always a natural place to go. But I think right now we're bi-weekly, so I would love to eventually get back to weekly. I had to scale it back because of the amount of work that's going into each episode. It's just not humanly possible to put, 80 hours of work into 1 week. And then also like rely on other people's schedules to fit that. So I would love to get back to weekly, and just keep helping people, keep growing. I think I would love to partner with more law enforcement. That seems to be something that's starting to happen. Yeah.
And you've partnered up with other podcasts in the past.
Yeah. I've made some really great friends in podcasting too as well. So
that's very neat.
Yeah.
So Eva's gonna have a bunch of fan questions from
Sure.
me. This is the fun stuff. So we have a guest come on, we put it out there, and then questions from all over the place.
Okay. This first one's from Holly Rainville. What region of Maine would you say has the most cold cases?
Oh.
The most cold cases. So the Maine State Police is like the cold case unit is broken up into like 3 sections. You have like the Northern Major Crimes Unit, you have this Central Major Crimes Unit, and you have the Southern. I would probably guess the Southern Major Crimes Unit has the most cases just because that's got the most populous area. You have Portland, you have, all of the York and Kennebec. We're in Kennebec,
Right.
Kennebunkport. And I would say that probably has the most unsolved cases.
Can I ask a dumb question? What makes something a cold case?
It's kind of a flexible term. On average, I would say a case that has gone unsolved for 5 years or more.
5 years is roughly.
Roughly, but some people call like a couple years a cold case. Most prefer also like unsolved rather than cold.
Sure,
I
sure.
think they're kind of synonymous, but some people I think are bothered by cold case.
Yep.
But I don't. Cold cases are still being active. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are cold.
Gotcha.
A lot of cases, you might remember in the last couple of years, in media and stuff. But one thing I like about you, what you do is you go back, you've had some really old stuff. So the history is amazing too. And when you paint the picture, like you can see the time period. And how do you find those cases from decades ago?
Oh, I stumble on them in the papers. I mean, there's some famous ones, that you'll come across, but like Sarah Ware in Bucksport's pretty famous unsolved case from the 1800s. But I also just stumble on them when I'm researching something else. I will look at the other headlines and see what kind of piques my interest. And I found some really interesting cases that way.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, and I just wanted to point out that Portland has its own jurisdiction, but I kind of mentally counted that into like the southern half of the state when talking about cold cases and where the most are.
Okay, next one's from Steve Jordan. Have you ever researched a story that really creeped you out? If so, can you tell us about it?
Creeped me out.
Good question.
That is a good question. I have a really a high threshold for what scares me. So I don't know. I don't think I can think of something off the top of my head.
Do you ever come across a case and you're like, nope, just nope? You get that feeling where you're like,
not really. I think the cases that would fall into that category might be cases that are just heavily covered.
Gotcha.
Like Ted Bundy, I probably wouldn't cover unless it's like some really specific spin. I don't know, cases that have like home invasions kind of creep me out, like that are truly like a stranger home invasion. Like Brian Kowalczyk, you mentioned, like that could be a stranger home invasion. It's unclear, at least to the public. But just the idea that this random person could just come into your house and just do whatever is creepy. So maybe that, but I can't think of anything specific. I think the Golden State Killer, knowing that he went into people's houses like that,
all right,
settled with me weird, but I don't know. Yeah.
When you say you're doing research and reading headlines, where are you doing this research? Like, is it online? Is it in archives at museums? Like,
I was pitching with a microfiche film thing.
I've done that. I've done that a lot.
I think that's why I asked.
Even you know what that is?
No. Yeah.
Down in the Maine State Library.
Yeah. So Maine actually has a really great digital footprint when it comes to archived newspapers that are digital. Back when Murder, She Told started, the Bangor Daily News was one of the only ones that was digital, and then a couple of other ones as well. Now I have access to all of the major papers, pretty much, that have been published in Maine for the period that I typically go for, which is like the late 1900s. So that's pretty easy. There's a website that has like access to it. So like you subscribe to a website like newspapers.com and you can have access to, which I have a code for if anyone wants to know. I can't remember it off the top of my head though.
Well, where can people go? Like your website and stuff.
Yeah. So if they go to like newspapers.com, they have a subscription. There's other like places like that have different papers. So I've kind of figured out where the papers live and have different subscriptions to that. But then there's also, which is the bane of my existence, newspapers, like little newspapers, are not digitized, and there's a lot of them. And places like the Boston Public Library house a lot of tiny papers that are in the Massachusetts area, Boston area. and they won't really help you like which, I mean, a librarian doing a microfilm search, they're not going to go as deep as I would because it's tedious doing like a microfilm search. After a while, your eyes start to cross when you're just manually reading headlines. So I have done microfilm. I've gone to the libraries and looked at like the big books that have like, they're like this big, and you open them up and they're just old newspapers. Pretty much anywhere I can get a newspaper, and I try to get as like niche as I can for the paper.
Oh. But you've also gone to a police department, got boxes and boxes of documents, and locked yourself in a room for
I wish I could
days,
say that. I mean, we did that kind of for Reeves.
Yeah.
But it wasn't boxes of Reeves' case. I mean, I guess now it kind of is because we had a couple different boxes, but the case file when we saw it first was really thin. So it's grown over the years. And the files that we were looking at were dispatch logs. We were looking at old case files that are completely unrelated just to see if anything like piqued our interest. And then we were also digitizing the family's case file and whatever Sergeant Comer had created for like a modern case file.
A lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe this, you don't have to necessarily spot going from hobby podcast to a full time. And you're on Spotify now. Is it how do you get paid by clicks? And we should probably know this because we have a podcast, but like I said, we have a TV show, so we do this for fun, like,
yeah.
and let's be face it, our TV show demographic, when we first started out, they are not the podcast, demographic, but over time,
don't insult our listeners.
No, I don't mean it by that, but
you guys are great.
Some people don't know what a podcast is.
But over time we have, gotten more listeners, but I wonder how you make a career and living out of it. Is it by, advertisements, or is it clicks, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the most common way the podcasts make money is through the advertisers.
Yeah.
So you'll hear me say ads; those are called host read ads, and that's what my partner at Q Code basically sells for the show. And then there's also like regular commercial sounding ads that can get put into the show as well. And I'm really like careful not to overwhelm the content because I don't. Like, you're not going to hear an ad every 5 minutes, but there are breaks, and I can't not do the show without those breaks. Right. So yeah, that's like the main way. And then there's also like Patreon and stuff like that, which I need to get started on.
Where do people find your podcast?
Anywhere you get a podcast except YouTube. I mean, I'm on YouTube, but I don't have like this amazing setup. I record in my closet.
Amazing setup.
Well, you should get Drea's card because she can show you how to do it. And she's amazing.
Yeah. But anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to Murder, She Told.
Awesome.
She's never wanted my Spotify.
I love that.
Well, Kristen, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is super fun.
And you have a website as well?
I do. It's murdershetold.com.
Perfect. So yeah, guys, like I said, that's Ashley and I's most favorite podcast.
Yeah, and my wife's.
And Sarah's.
Love it.
So check it out. She does a great job, and you'll be very happy you did. So let's take a break, and we get back. There's a new segment.
This is Chase
And Ryan.
from the Woodshed podcast, and we are here to get project pointers where we answer questions from people who reach out, questions about their cabins, projects they have going on, and we try and answer them as best we can.
Really our favorite part, one of the favorite parts, we really get into it, and we'd really like to develop that more, maybe find projects and pointers that we can talk to the homeowner in real time with and see where it goes from there.
So if you have a cabin and you have an issue, or if you have a project you're working on, podcast at mainecabinmasters.com, project pointers.
Hey!
Who's there? Oh.
Hi.
I'm just
Long
kidding.
time no see.
I thought it was gonna be a stupid joke. Can we get Maggie? It's amazing. Hi, honey.
Knock, knock. Who's there? It's Maggie.
Our esteemed original producer.
How's college life?
It's good. It's cold. Busy, but it's good.
Nice.
You went skiing.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm in my dorm. back from my classes.
Are those
Done
fish,
for
are
the
those
day.
fish posters behind you on the wall?
Oh yeah. Done beautifully by your current producer. Well, so most of them I've updated it.
Yeah, I set them up when she was
Oh, nice.
moving her in.
Mm-hmm.
Is your dorm room very hot?
No, no.
Is it hotter than
I
our
mean,
house?
It's nice. I think it's a nice temperature. Usually.
Gee, your sister's question: is it warmer than your house growing up?
Oh my god. Yes.
I know your pain, guys, because I grew up in an old farmhouse too. You know,
Yeah, but
I
You'll-
wouldn't blame
I
it on
think
the
our house
farmhouse.
could be warmer if it was allowed to be.
remember they called us last year from in Italy, and like the pipes from birth.
Yes.
Like you kids are wise beyond your ear.
I didn't realize how cold our house really was until I wasn't there all the time, and it's quite cold.
That's why you're not allowed to leave till you're 18. You don't learn that stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we just had a guest on Kristen Seavy.
Kristen Seavy?
Kristen Seavy from Murder She Told. I think we've made you listen to that before driving. And your mom loves that podcast as well.
Really? How was that? Good?
Yeah. Oh, when we were listening to it, we went to Montreal a couple weeks ago. It was fun.
Mm. Nice.
She actually said we had a really cool podcast room or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She called it amazing.
She was impressed. So
Really?
Yes, that's no lie.
yeah,
Wow.
we're doing something
Wow.
right.
Professionally.
So what's
Yeah.
Burlington like in the wintertime besides cold? Does,
Cold.
does the lake freeze?
When I came back, when you guys dropped me off, when we walked down, it wasn't frozen, but I was down, at the water, not last week and the weekend before, and there's a part that's sort of protected by rocks or whatever, and that part's frozen.
The cold. Everything's freezing. It's crazy.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I don't know that you should walk on it.
Oh.
But
No ice skating on it.
it wasn't nice ice.
You sled right down that whole hill and a big
Right,
toboggan right onto Lake Champlain.
Yeah, I should have tried that on that one Sunday we had that snowstorm.
Any snowmobilers in Burlington?
No.
No
So,
snowmobiles on campus?
snowmobile to work today. Got my ski pants
No.
on and my
And-
boots. I can't look.
Oh my god. Yeah, I haven't seen a snowmobile. Sometimes I tell people that people used to snowmobile to my high school and they think that's funny.
That's the main way. Jen and I were talking about that today. So how do you like the college schedule? Like you had a nice break, you were home, you went traveling to Italy, and then you got a break in March, right? You have 2 weeks or 1 week?
Yeah, I have 1 week in March, which actually is sooner than I think every time I think about it. Yeah,
that's
it's good. I feel like the semester goes by really fast. I don't know what's this, 5th week or something already, and it's
You know, when's it end? May? When's college?
I have no idea.
yeah,
I've been in college a long time.
mid-May.
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 What are you gonna do this summer? We got a job picked out?
I don't know. I was just starting to think about that.
You gonna come home?
Gotta figure it out.
You're going to be home for the summer, though, right?
Yes, I will be home.
All right. Just checking. Just checking.
I mean, you could
Nowhere
swing a
else to
hammer. You
go.
could serve burger. I mean, we got you covered.
Yeah.
Right, I have lots of options if I choose.
Construction, retail.
I think you'd be a badass carpenter.
That's not even on the table.
Come on.
We should tell us that right up front.
Not
What do
even
you
on.
miss most?
What do I miss most
Yeah.
about?
Home.
But I'm not about home.
Yeah.
Do you miss your mom's cooking?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I miss. I don't know.
She doesn't
That's
miss.
a hard question.
Well, no, because so Doug the plumber was telling me, you know, Becky wanted to see the kids more, so she's like, and see the new grandbaby. She's like, I'm just gonna tell him tell me what's your favorite dish, and we'll have make dinner. Like, you always miss your mom's cooking, and that'll always get me to come home. If my mom was like, "I'm making dinner tonight," like, I'm going over.
Right? Shepherd's pie. That always got onto.
Oh yeah, she'll come over.
No.
Not you, but
What's your favorite thing that your mom makes, in your opinion? Mine is her cookies. She's the best cookie maker. Sorry, Mom.
I don't know. I mean, Mom makes a lot of good things.
What about you?
She made lasagna the other night.
that was
good lasagna.
Your lasagna?
Yeah.
Is your dad a good cook?
No. He gets too experimental and then it just goes
Yeah,
crazy.
Dad,
It goes awry.
It's not like he's bad. He just like does weird stuff whenever he cooks.
He doesn't like to follow recipes.
And then he makes you.
All right.
Eva, do you remember those potato tacos he made that one time?
All right.
One time he cooked it.
What's a potato taco?
Potato tacos. He took some taco shells, put some potatoes in it. He's like, here's some potato
I
tacos.
never used to work nights.
See, I can see it the other way around. You take a potato, put a taco inside of it.
Like,
That would probably
I
be
was
good.
a teenager.
Anyways, don't you miss George?
Oh,
I
George.
miss a lot of
No,
things.
you can have
but
him.
Also, it feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like that long since I was home.
And yeah, she's making her way in the world. Like, she's focused. She's got a lot going on. Like,
right.
right?
I don't know. It's hard to think. I don't know.
I don't think I said. When did you start? Like, I feel like I had an epiphany. Like, I think maybe I was a little bit homesick when I left, but then I had an epiphany. Like, maybe my sophomore year. Like, oh wow, my brother really was one of my good friends, and not just someone I like to pick on and couldn't stand, or like my parents or your family's your friends. You have that epiphany after a while. Like,
Yep. Yeah, I think. Yeah, probably when Ashley went to right as a younger kid.
yeah. Oh yeah. When your sister leaves,
Yeah, next year it's gonna be me and Fletcher.
you'll be the girl of the house, the oldest girl of the house. Which one of
I
your
mean, at
siblings
least you don't have to be
You
Fletcher,
must
though.
miss your car.
I do. I miss my car a lot. It would be really convenient to have my car, but also, like, one of my, I don't have it, so here we are.
Next year. Which one of your siblings reaches out to you the most through text, talking, or whatever?
Recently, I would have to say Fletcher.
Fletch for the win.
Fletcher, like, I feel like the sibling that I've actually like texted with recently has been Fletcher.
Do you say anything special?
We talk about ice skiing a lot. That's what we were texting about mostly.
Oh, look, we still haven't found your wax.
But I don't know where it is. But I feel like, I don't know. I talk to them all when they're all together, I guess. But Fletcher is the one I was texting with most recently.
Way to go, Fletch.
And how's your roommate?
She's good. She's here right now.
That's
She can hear anything you say.
Hi, Abigail.
Hey, Abby, nice to meet you.
She says hi.
we're putting Maggie through hell, and her roommate's in there fucking laughing. Maggie, you're a good spirit. We love you.
Yeah, I know.
We
don't
love you.
worry.
We miss you, and you'll be home soon.
Yes, love and miss you. Hope everything's good.
And all the people in the podcast world just wanted to see your pretty face and hear that from you, so that's why. That's why
Yeah.
you're there, so.
My one time every now and then over Zoom appearance will.
Yeah,
I'll take.
absolutely.
As
Right.
long as I'm here and you're there.
Those are the rules.
No promises. No.
You're
That's-
lucky the box truck broke down.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your week.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Take
I think
your
I'm
friends to me.
skiing this weekend, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
See ya, Nate.
okey-dokey.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
to be on Hi Podcast World, and yeah, hope everything's good.
Bye.
Bye, Maggie.
Bye.
Okay, some fan questions. First one's from Thomas Rattlemile. It appears that when you level or build cabins, you set them on concrete pucks. Is there anything under them? I want to build a shed in the spring and want to know if this would work for me, or should I dig a concrete post in the ground? When using pucks, and what keeps the cabins from moving on them?
Nothing keeps the cabin from moving.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Not on pucks.
No.
Oh.
We get this one all the time. But we've done this a lot, and we've found over the years, it's just a great way to do it, and it's not just a concrete puck.
Nope.
You got to start on uneven ground.
Yep.
And you got to dig a hole to get your jack under there, so it's uneven. You got dirt everywhere, so that's where the 3/4 inch crushed stone comes in, right? We always try to have a couple yards of that on,
right?
Because
Well, I guess it depends on the soil conditions, right?
Well, true, yeah. But
right? Like if it's wet, you want to bring in crushed stone or something to keep the water away from it.
yeah,
But if it's high and dry,
or like it's on ledge or something, we'll go right.
yeah. But so you put the crushed stone down, if you can, insulation.
Yeah, 2 inches of foam board is perfect.
Yep. Some of the guys like to cut it perfectly around the circle. Some, some will make a square and just cover it over. It really just depends on how
OCD you are or not.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the puck goes over that. And we know that everything's going to move, because of the frost and the cycle and Mother Nature. We know, like, a lot of these camps that we jack and level, they haven't been touched in decades. And that we get it back to where it's going to be. Every 5 years, you might want to go in and micro adjust it, and that's what a homeowner can do.
Yep. One of the big things, though, is if it's on a puck, it's easy for the puck to kind of pivot or, tilt one way or another. So if you put your post down, brace it with 45s from as many sides as you can, and that will also help lock the puck. Not lock the puck, but keep the puck from shifting as well. If
because the post can't move.
Yeah.
That's very important. As many 45s as you can.
Yes. And we've done a couple where we had to actually put a couple of brackets that connected the base of the post to the puck, which, same thing. That's easy. Just a couple concrete screws into the puck and then a couple screws into whatever you're using for a post. But
it's easy as that. But sometimes, like, if we'll be jacking level a cabin and there's a rock that you can tell hasn't moved in 100 years, we don't touch it. We'll just take that post out and put it right back in, or if it's on ledge.
Yeah.
And then, like, when we did the cabin for Ash and I last summer, we learned about the plastic pucks, which were great in that application.
Yep.
When you have to carry them or somewhere. But same idea. They all float a little bit, and they are going to have to be micro adjusted.
Yeah, they're going to float. If you want, if code dictates, or if you want to get it down below the frost, you either techno metal posts or set your sonotubes. It really depends on how much you want to spend and how far you have to take it. But yeah, just knowing that up here in Maine, the frost is going to get in the ground, everything's going to rise up, everything's going to settle back down. You kind of just go with the flow on the pucks.
Right? Sometimes it's better for stuff to move. It doesn't break as much.
It's true.
So yeah.
Okay.
The fascinating world of pucks.
Mm-hmm. Next one's from Brandon.
Wait. You can also get different size pucks. We use typically the 18
inch by 6 inch.
You can get the smaller ones that take a 4x4.
Yeah, the little like trapezoid,
and
things.
Those are probably going to shift a little bit more, and then you can get the concrete piers, which you can dig down, and they're a little bell shaped, and set those.
Or 24-inch pucks. Those things are painful.
Yeah,
a lot of it depends on budget, how young or old you are, access to the job site.
Exactly. We get our pucks from Hammond Lumber Company.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Hammond gets them from Gadney's and Sons.
Yeah, so you can also get them from your local concrete supply company, or your local, local lumberyard.
I wonder if there is abundant in other states. I wonder if we take some things for granted. Like, I wonder if like you're in Michigan or Minnesota, if you can't find a puck,
right? And well, the hard thing, like, you can't really use a paver because they're too thin. And there's nothing, right? They'll snap so easily if you put any pressure on them. And same thing with cinder blocks. You don't really want to use cinder blocks because those can kind of collapse in on you as well.
Wow.
Actually, there's going to be a camp that we just did coming up very soon where we used the those preformed bell.
Oh yes,
where you set your plastic whatever you want to call it, in the, dig down as far as you
It's a
can.
plastic sonotube
It's a
almost.
plastic sonotube that's capped, and when you're ready to pour, you cut the top off, level them across, and
I actually like those a lot because we went in with the excavator.
Yep.
We dug. There was ledge, and they were all up and down. But we snapped a line afterwards, cut them, and then everything was perfect.
and you could kind of shape the flute too, so that those worked well.
She's giving us a look.
Yeah.
All
who,
right, sorry.
who gives a puck? All right, that's it for fan questions.
Oh, the boss is here today.
All right, now we are on to From the Archives, where we read some of the, or I should say Eva reads some of the notes left in the logbooks,
The journals.
the journals
The journals, the diaries.
that's left at KCC. So if you stop
The
by our
kids still
store-
diary these days. You have a diary?
Everybody who stops at KCC does. All right. The first one is from cousin Anna, Valentina, Becky, and Greg.
Hey, all right.
All right.
You are the best. We love you.
Oh, that's sweet.
Cousin Anna lives in
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
She comes up a lot.
She does. She was up for Christmas.
I wonder how many people in there are related to you guys. Us.
Lots.
All my cousin-in-laws.
Next ones are from Steve. Love your show. Also love the quality work you do. And he's from Boston, but living in Honolulu.
Oh, snap.
Honolulu. Watch the program regularly and love the final projects. Rowdy and Angie from Maryland.
All right. Maryland, Honolulu,
All over the place.
Brooklyn, Farmington.
All the way from Farmington.
Have watched all your shows. Good luck with beautiful new home in Italy. I wore my I Love Dogs t-shirt in case I met Ashley. From Fred and Sherry Thomas, Claremont, Florida.
Well, hopefully you guys were able to meet Ashley.
Yeah.
And she also loves her dogs.
We had a new puppy on today.
We did.
Yep. Jason Frappy had Brandy's cute.
Yep.
Playing with the other dogs.
Yeah. I can't think of Evan's dog's name.
Ruben.
Ruben and Trigger used to couldn't tell them apart. The same age, pretty close to the same age.
You still can't. Ruben's a little bit.
Ruben's a lot.
I was trying to be
a
nice.
lot heftier. We'll blame it on the breed.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of dogs, say hi to your dogs for me. Love Jimmy, age 3, from Havertown, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Hi, Jimmy. Oh, I gotta do a shout out to my new friend Skylar. She's from Alaska and she's trying to sell some Girl Scout cookies. So apparently she was in last year. The girls down at the Woodshed met her and asked her some questions, and she left a pencil and they kind of forgot about it. They saw the pencil the other day. Like, oh, we got to get more information for Skylar so she can talk to the people. She wanted to meet us. And she walked in there the other day, like 2 days later. All the way from Hawaii.
Isn't that funny?
To kind of find out her parents own a campground up in Millinocket.
No kidding.
So Skylar, we'll make sure we see you this summer. Okay? If you're watching. And I'm going to buy some Girl Scout cookies.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite? I'll buy you some.
Okay, Thin Mints.
Okay.
Okay, and on to trivia. It's been a while since we did it, so I don't actually remember my question. But I think it was in 1675, Indians and settlers fought in Maine as part of the New England-wide conflict called what?
That does not sound familiar at all.
Maggie, if you're watching this, don't judge your sister.
It's been like 2 weeks. Wow.
What was it? It was what are some of the other questions?
Was it when did Maine adopt a 4-year term governor?
That one we've done before, I think, right?
It was that one. Okay. Well, the answer to that is 1957.
Oh.
And,
Really? It was 2 years before that?
Yeah.
And then the next question is in 1675, Indians and settlers fought in Maine as part of a New England-wide conflict called what?
What is
Wait,
it?
so that's this trivia question for this week?
Yep. This week's trivia question. In 1675, Indians and settlers fought in Maine as part of a New England-wide conflict called what?
I think I know this one.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Were they fighting against each other together? I gotta find that out. Right? Interesting.
I learned some interesting trivia the other day. I don't know how we got on the topic, but March Madness
Yeah.
and rabbits and how.
Where are you going with that?
Stay with me.
Okay.
This is a long loop.
All
But
right.
so-
Oh my god.
March Madness, real quick. March Madness is, basketball, but it was also like when animals come out in the spring, they start, mating season, whatever. So we're going down this rabbit hole, no pun intended. And then we learned that they used to use rabbits for pregnancy tests. They would inject a woman's urine into the ovaries of a rabbit to see, and somehow then they'd have to dissect the rabbit, and that would tell you it's. And then it gets even crazier. After rabbits, it became frogs, and they would use frogs, and these tests were 98% accurate, and they were used up until the 70s.
You're gonna inseminate a rabbit with urine and then kill it.
Yep. You'd inject urine into a rabbit's ovaries, and there was something that would tell you if
No
it was,
wonder PETA was started back then.
Yeah, that's horrible.
and then it became frogs, and I think you didn't have to, easier.
What was the turnaround time on that? Like,
I don't know. But up until the 70s, and it was 98% accurate.
God, so I think it's a weird world we're living in, but technology is definitely a lot better. Really? Like, I want to know, how does he even come up with that concept?
I don't know.
Like, how do you even let's try this out?
I don't know. But there's another little bit of
March
trivia.
Madness. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Well, when March Madness actually came out of your dad's mouth, I'm like, do you know college basketball? I was impressed.
Nope, nothing to do with basketball. Well, all right. We want to thank our sponsors,
Yes.
Hammond Lumber Company, Nelma. Thank you to our guest, Kristen Seavy. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Eva. And From the Woodshed, we'll be talking to you. From the Woodshed is brought to you by Nelma, Northeast Lumber Manufacturing Association. See the stamp, trust the quality. And Hammond Lumber, our building materials supplier.